Bandai's Dream 5 Movie Monster Series set, featuring a quintet of classic Showa Godzilla monsters that had come out on top in a poll Bandai put out, was officially revealed on November 3rd, 2024, and was instantly tempting to many kaiju collectors, myself included. I have finally secured the set for myself, quite a few months after its official release. It didn't help that the Godzilla store kept delaying my pre-order. Now that I have at last gotten my hands on the Dream 5 collection, I thought why not do an unboxing and review of the set, and discuss both all the things I like about this assortment of kaiju, and the annoying inherent flaw with this set that began to stick out to me even before I got it in the mail. That's what's on the agenda for today's episode of the Toku Professor. Hi everyone, and welcome to one of the first true figure reviews I've done on this channel. I have of course discussed lots of different monster toys throughout the mini kaiju bios and other videos I've put out, and I've talked about toys in YouTube shorts as well, but this is my first full-length video solely devoted to reviewing a particular release. Let me know how much you end up liking it in the comments. Maybe I'll do this again sometime. Anyway, without further ado, here's the footage of me unboxing the Dream 5 set. I was trying to get it open quickly for your viewing convenience, and ended up slightly ripping a small section of the box in the process, which made me a little sad. This box has amazing artwork, and I thought about cutting the front off and hanging it up somewhere. What do you guys do with boxes like this? I'd be interested to know. Anyway, eventually I got it open, and this is what it looked like on the inside.
Let's see here. Boy. Here we go.
I pulled out King Ghidorah 1964 first, followed by Anguirus 1972, and then Kamacuras and Gabara, two monsters I've covered on this channel, who at last have movie monster series figures. Then out came Mechagodzilla 1974, and at last all the kaiju were released from being sealed in, cause after all, seals only exist so that whatever's being sealed can break out again at some point. Here's the full lineup. I'll be discussing them all from left to right, beginning with Kamacuras from Son of Godzilla, one of the figures I was anticipating most from this collection. This monster features 3 points of articulation, the head rotates, and the front two legs shaped like a knife and a scythe can be moved as well. Could have used some more movable parts honestly, such as on the rest of the legs or at the center where the wings meet the middle segment. The antennae are flexible, so I assume they would be harder for a rough child to snap off than if they were rigid. The figure is well molded, with a rough, bumpy texture all over, except on the underside of the toy. It seems to be very well painted, with white on all the toes, or whatever you would call them, and on the jagged edge of the scythe arm. My only paint complaints are that the spot where the inside of the wing can be seen could have used some color, and the knife arm should have gotten some of that white that the scythe arm got. I also keep thinking that the color they used for the top of the wings is a little off, though checking images of the monster reveals it's pretty close to correct. Overall, if I ignore my bias toward this figure for finally giving Kamacuras some MMS representation, this figure gets a 7 out of 10. With a little more color and articulation, it would have been close to perfect. Next, we have King Ghidorah from Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and spoiler alert, this is probably my least favorite figure in this set. Only his legs have any articulation, and his wings feel squishy like a baby toy, and are pulled back instead of being spread out. I think just spreading the wings out would have done this toy a lot of good, because as it is now, the figure feels very thin when you look at it heads on. The three heads don't seem properly spread out either, and though I guess it was a good idea to paint the fuzz around these heads, it just doesn't seem to have been done right, as the heads feel very disconnected from the necks, almost as if King Ghidorah's real heads are underneath and he's wearing 3 masks. The red in the creature's eyes is a nice touch, but they didn't bother to paint the toes. This figure gets a 5 out of 10. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh, but it just doesn't look right to me. Next is Gabora from All Monsters Attack, the figure I wanted most from this set. In my 30 MMS Figures We Need video from a while back, I ranked him number 3 on my most wanted list, and now he's finally here and is almost everything I wanted, with one exception. One irritating exception. Why is he clenching one fist while the other hand is open? This is a symmetrical monster, but that symmetry has been ruined by this one baffling decision, and I can't help but notice it when I look at him. I guess maybe it's supposed to remind you of him punching Manila or something, but man, I really wish the fist was the same as the other hand. I guess it would have been nice if they'd used green on the bumps around the brown pads on his stomach, or if he had articulated legs too. But the hand thing is my main annoyance with this guy. They were so close, but I guess he doesn't look too bad if you put the fist hand down and the other up. Gabora gets an 8.5 out of 10. Anguirus from Godzilla vs. Gigan is an interesting one, as it looks very similar to old Bandai Anguirus figures from the 80s and 90s, and I think it could even be using a retooled mold that was used for these older toys. It kinda reminds me of Ultramonster series figures from the 2000s that reused older molds as well, while using a much sleeker material. While this Anguirus mold is passable, it feels a little simplified compared to Showa Anguirus' more rumpled and muscular looking appearance for me, but maybe that's just me. I think he would have looked better with an open mouth, too. He does have a good amount of articulation, namely on all four legs and on his tail, but as far as the coloration, it seems they went with too much brown and not enough gray, and I think the spikes on the tail should have been painted the same way as the spikes on his carapace. A twistable head would have been nice, too. It's great that we finally have a figure of the version of Anguirus that was Godzilla's best friend, but they could have done better. 6 out of 10. Mechagodzilla from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla surprised me. I already had a vintage Showa Mechagodzilla Bandai figure, as well as the MMS Flying Mechagodzilla, so I didn't really care about this one before I got the set in the mail. But man, I really like this figure. After closely inspecting this toy and comparing it to 1974 Mechagodzilla suit images, I have come to the conclusion that the mold for this figure looks basically exactly the same as the suit, with the spikes on the knees being the only area I wish had gotten a little more attention. They could have also used a darker silver than this to get the coloration closer, I suppose, and some extra articulation such as on the head instead of just on the arms would have been nice, but these two issues don't hurt the figure's ranking much in my opinion. Comparing this guy to my other much older Showa Mechagodzilla is probably influencing me, but I have to give this figure a 9 out of 10. I'm more excited about Gabora and Kamacuras, who had no representation in my MMS collection before this, but this Mechagodzilla might be the best figure of the whole group. Now that I've looked at all the figures and even the box, you'd think I'd have nothing left to say about this collection, but I mentioned there was an annoying flaw with this set in the beginning, which I still haven't discussed. And it's not even the $160 price, which I guess I should quickly touch on before discussing the flaw I want to bring up. $160 US for 5 figures comes out to $32 a figure, which is about normal for a toy from this line. Since you have to buy all 5 figures when you purchase this collection, they probably should have given us a bulk discount. $130 or $26 a figure would have been more reasonable. But the issue I really want to talk about is the monsters they chose for this set. I don't think any of these figures should have been locked behind a collector's box set. All these monsters probably should have been sold separately. I can understand putting really obscure kaiju in a collector's set, or rare colored variants, or figures in unique poses, etc., but to force people who just want to buy the iteration of Anguirus that was Godzilla's best friend to have to pay up for a premium set with 4 other monsters in it just isn't a good idea. Or what if there's someone out there who wants to buy 3 Kamacuras to build a Son of Godzilla diorama or something? Now they're going to have to pay way more for each one. Or what about people like me who had King Ghidorah, Anguirus, and Mechagodzilla figures already, and mainly just wanted Gabora and Kamacuras? Or suppose there's a big Mechagodzilla fan out there who just wants a regular standing-up Showa Mechagodzilla. Now he has to buy a bunch of other figures he didn't care about. These monsters should have been, for lack of a better term, bread and butter releases, but instead they are now very inaccessible to a lot of people. From what I can tell, I think they promised to release all the winners of that one poll as a box set before people even picked these figures, but if they really wanted to do a set of 5, they shouldn't have featured such important kaiju in that poll. Now, in the thumbnail, the reason I chose to say this is flawed, sort of, was because even though this turned out to be an annoying choice of monsters, at the same time, the fact that this is the only way to get these popular kaiju means actually receiving the set in the mail is pretty exciting. So what might be the set's biggest weakness, in a strange way, is also, I guess, one of its biggest strengths too? Well played, Bandai, well played. I wonder if any of these exact figures will be released separately at some point in the future. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, yes, this has been my review of the Dream 5 Movie Monster Series figure set. Be sure to let me know what you think about this collection in the comments, and like and subscribe.
Wonderful lecture, Professor. Teachers don't get graded, but if they did, you'd get an A+ from me.
Oh, thanks. Who are you?
Name's Daniel B.E.A.S.T, toy tycoon and entrepreneur extraordinaire. I'm here to make you an offer you can't refuse. So since I already know you can't, do me a favor and sign right here.
Whoa, what is this? What? This This says that I have to sign over 3/4 of my teacher's salary to you for the next century.
A small price to pay for endless success. Once our partnership officially begins, my company will be launching a full-scale operation to promote your brand of school lectures worldwide by releasing a premium collection of 5 Toku Professor and Friends figures to be packaged in a beautiful collector's limited edition box made from recycled banana peels and toothpaste tubes. What's not to like, friend? So now that we're in agreement, would you please sign right...
Sir, as tempting as it is to have official figures made of me, no offense, but I don't think a shady guy with a name that's a knockoff of a company whose figures I like that tries to trick me into signing a contract is someone I want to partner with to make it happen. So goodbye, Mr. Bai.
All right, if you don't trust me, I'll have my boss get you signed up instead.
No, I'm not interested. Please go away or I'll have to call and complain to this boss of yours.
Good, and he can sign you up while you do so.
No, Rigolo, please take this salesman out of here.
Oh, he won't do that. I promised I'd include a figure of your security robot in the box set, which is why he let me in here. And there'll be a toy of you and Dinosaur Boy with black hoodie, and Office Supplies Cat, and an extra articulated goofy alien guy. The perfect Dream 5 collection. The professor should really go through with this, shouldn't he, kids?
And now you're trying to use the kids as leverage against me. Wait a minute. There will be a figure of the one and only Animaniac, too, right?
Nah, the viewers hate you, anime kid. No one would buy a toy of you. Waste of soft vinyl. Anyway...
Now you listen here. I may despise Tokusatsu, but I love collecting figures. And I've been wanting a toy of myself to boost my ego my entire life. And now you're going to take the opportunity away from me?
You were never under consideration, kid. Now anyway, Professor...
Well then, allow me to show you why I'm the official bully of this school. How did the simple toy review evolve into this?